Dear student, welcome to the class of research paper writing. In today's lecture, we will have a discussion about that how you can write a research paper. A research paper writing. We had a discussion in the last lecture that you can select any topic related to networks, related to mobile computing, related to distributed computing, our distributed networks, Internet of Things, IoTs, Internet of Vehicles, industrial IoTs, IIoTs. Similarly, you can have the fog computing. You can also take a topic from edge computing. Similarly, you can also work on security. So it's your prerogative that either you want to work in security side, you want to work on a routing side, you want to work on quality of service. You want to work on congestion control. Even you can also work on node mobility. Etc. So it's your choice that either you want to work on which area or where you are interested. So it's your interest where you want to work. I already shared some sample research paper on the Canvas. You can see that 3 papers are shared over there. One is IEEE survey related to routing protocol. Another one is about congestion control. And third paper is about emergency information dissemination. So you can also have a look about those papers and get some idea. So here we can discuss that what are different parts of research paper and how you will get start. Research paper sections. So the first section in this paper will be the abstract. Then onward we will have keywords. That will be the technical words that you use inside your paper. Then we will have the introduction part. The introduction. After introduction, we will have the literature review. In which we will discuss different research papers. After literature review, we will have a comparative analysis. So this section 1 start from introduction. section 1. Then this is section 2. Then section 3, start from here. And here you can also use the tools for implementation. That can be considered as section 4. And then onward, you can also add discussion on the comparative analysis. That can be section 5. Section 6 is a bit important because in this you should be able to give your own recommendations related to discussed approaches. So what are your recommendations? And that will be considered as section 6. And the last one can be the conclusion and future work. That will be section 7. And at the end, we will have references, right? Remember this section 4 is actually optional. Sometime there may be multiple tools that you would like to discuss and share that which tool is considered as more appropriate or more acceptable in the research community. So now moving onward toward first section, research paper write-up. So first of all, you have to write the title of your research paper. RP stands for research paper. For example, we are writing a research paper on multicast routing protocol. Multicast routing protocols in vehicular ad hoc networks. And here you can write, this is a review paper. So this is the title, for example, you have decided to write your paper on. So the first step here is to write the abstract of this paper. And look at this, how you will write down the abstract of this research paper. Excuse me. So first of all, you have to write this abstract in a stepwise procedure. This is the first thing that you will define what is a vehicular ad hoc network. So this is the first step that you write. You can also discuss just 1 to 2 lines about vehicular ad hoc network. Then onward, what is multicast routing? So you should also write 2 to 3 lines about multicast routing. Then onward, you can discuss about the applications or importance of multicast routing in vehicular ad hoc network in VNet. So what is actually the importance or application? You can write in 2 to 3 lines about it. And onward, you can also write about the existing multicast routing protocol, or you can write down that in this paper we will discuss. You can use different words like discuss, evaluate, compare, analyze existing multicast routing protocol for vehicular ad hoc networks. So this is much more important to learn that you should discuss the existing techniques and then onward compare them with one another against some parameters, some predefined parameter. And over here you can also add before this comparative analysis that you can also add evaluation parameter. So what are the evaluation parameters that can be used? And you can treat it as a section 2.1 or even section 3. It can be section 3 or it can be section 2.1. So in this paper, you will have discussion about these protocols and how this work will be helpful for the researchers that they can select a protocol based on their requirement. So this is actually the abstract of this paper, and it's most probably, for example, this is 2 line, 3 line, then 3 line. So you have almost 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So almost 10 to 12 line abstract is written for this research paper. Now moving toward the next section, that will be the keywords. And I can also show you here in this paper. This is a paper written by my student, Bilawal Shabbir. And you can see here that he written this paper on congestion avoidance in vehicular ad hoc network. It's a contemporary survey. So here are the author names. So similarly, you can also write down the author name. I will share the template in which you can write your paper. Here is the abstract, and you can see over here that he is writing about the vehicular ad hoc network and the congestion. And similarly, what are the importance of congestion control, or low latency, or reliability in these network. So he had discussion about different applications and different mechanisms that exist in the vehicular ad hoc network. So at the end, you can see that this paper provides a comprehensive overview of the working of vehicular ad hoc network and the recent research advances to cater for congestion in such network, and open problem and challenges relevant to the congestion avoidance. Here are the technical words that you can see over here. These are the index terms, and these are the technical terms you actually use inside your research paper. Onward, he has followed the nomenclature that you will also follow here. So these can be the keywords or index terms. So these are the technical words. At least 5 to 7 words should be used, which are used inside your research paper. Remember, you have to write your research paper in LaTeX and LaTeX tool, and you can easily find the format for IEEE XSR any other paper. And after this, you can see that there are some nomenclature are the acronyms that is used here in this research article. So here you can use the nomenclature and acronyms that you use in your research paper. For example, here we are using the VNets. For example, there is ABC, and then onward you have to give the desired explanation over there. And a LaTeX file, remember, while you write all these things, then automatically it will be compiled and then will put in this format already approved by that journal. Now, the next section here is the introduction part. We can move onward to the section 1. This is now called section 1, which is the introduction. So introduction part, instead of lines as we have written in the abstract, we will write paragraphs. So what is a VNets? It should be explained with 1 to 2 paras. Then similarly, multicast communication. You can further discuss in this section the importance. What is the importance of multicast communication? Application of multicast communication. I am writing MCAST in vehicular ad hoc networks. And similarly here in this section, you should also add a diagram which explain the multicast communication in vehicular ad hoc networks. Onward, after this discussion, for example, here you have 1 to 2 paras. Here you have 2 to again 1 to 2 paras for multicast explanation, and then onward you are adding the applications about 1 to 2 paras. And then onward the diagram. Remember, you should also explain this diagram in the text as well. Explain in text as well. After this, you have to write the paper structure at the end of introduction that mostly start from section 2, that you can start in this pattern, that the rest of the paper is organized as follow. Section 2 presents existing routing protocols for multicast communication or routing in vehicular ad hoc network. And critically analyze them. Similarly, you can also write section 3, discuss the tool used inside the research community. Section 4, give a comparative analysis of these protocols based on the important evaluation parameters. And that's why I told you earlier that you can hear, as we discussed on slide number 2, that here are the evaluation parameter that you discuss in section 2.1 and evaluation parameters. So with section 2, you can also write that the evaluation parameter based on which we will have discussion or we will evaluate these parameter. Section 4, that we had discussion over here. Section 4 will have the implementation tool, and then onward section 5 will have the comparative analysis, and next section, that is the recommendation section. So you can onward write about section 4, section 5, and section 6, and the last section presents the conclusion and future work. So this is the end of the introduction section. After this, you have to start section 2. That is the literature review. Literature review, or in some paper we also write it the related work. In this section, you can also see this section, the introduction. Look at this. It gave an intro about vehicular ad hoc network, then give introduction about the network congestion, and then onward about some other important parameter over here that is part of vehicular ad hoc network, and about the congestion control. Here, the paper structure is given at the end. This work is organized as Section 2 presents important feature of VANET. Section 3 review different congestion control for vehicular ad hoc network. Similarly, Section 4 summarize existing simulators used to simulate the congestion scenario. And Section 5 conclude the work with the future perspective. Similarly, here, as we discussed about the evaluation parameter, here are some discussion about important feature of vehicular ad hoc network, and you can see he has discussion about vehicular ad hoc network characteristic such as dynamic topology, time critically, and then onward mobility pattern, time criticality and mobility pattern, no energy constraint, similarly battery, and then onward some wireless communication and unbounded network size. Here you can see he has given the applications that where the vehicular ad hoc network applications are, the safety application and efficiency and comfort customization with respect to different scenario. Here he has discussed the performance matrix that is used, and this is part of the introduction, and the parameter that he is using is the delay, then onward the packet delivery ratio, the channel busy ratio, and then onward other parameter that he considered. Next section, he has the challenges for these vehicular ad hoc network, that what are the challenges that include delay constraint, packet congestion control, and then onward the priorities of these packet, cost, cross layering, reliability, then onward the geo addressing or the geolocation. Then again we have the data verification and trust management. Then he has given the motivation behind this research work. What is the motivation behind this work is also given over here, and you can see that the main motivation uh, behind this is that to look into the future, particularly when the vehicles will be autonomous. Next section over here you can see is the taxonomy of these congestion protocols. So therefore you should also have the taxonomy of these protocols as well, and that can be the part of section 2 or section 1. Here is the diagram he actually added here in the introduction part. That is the section 1. Here is the vehicular ad hoc network environment, and he show the vehicles coming from different side, the RHU, the vehicles, and then the base station. So now moving onward, you can have a look to the protocols, how they are categorized based on power, based on rate, hybrid, CSMA, CA, clustering, prioritizing or scheduling, and then SDN based. And then here they discuss some congestion control strategies for vehicular ad hoc network that is actually the literature review, and now here the protocols will start from this point. Here in this section, we will discuss are critically the existing routing protocols for vehicular ad hoc networks. So, for example, you can start with the different strategies as we discussed in this paper. For example, here you can see he has given some introduction about these protocol, and then onward based on these categories, for example, the power based, then rate, hybrid, and CDMA, he start the discussion. So here is the power based strategies, and there are certain protocol that he discussed and even explained them with the diagram. This is the speed based. Then onward, there is a vehicular density based power control, and then onward, rate based as well. So we are considering, for example, this one vehicular based. So what he actually did, he explained everything over here. The first thing is, for example, the first protocol or strategy that you have taken is ABC, and you have to explain the working of this protocol. Working of this protocol, or you can say the technique. For example, if you have a different topic, then you can write the technique, the approach, the algorithm. So how it works, the working, and then onward, you have to discuss the pros and cons, the pros and cons. So this discussion may be the where it perform well and where this protocol can compromise. So this discussion actually give an overview. This discussion actually give an overview to the reader that which protocol will be perfect for him. So either it's a standalone protocol. This is, for example, A, protocol A, then onward protocol B, that is DEF, another protocol. So similarly, you have to discuss about the working. Then onward, you have to discuss the pros and cons. You can say the advantages and disadvantages of this protocol, and then onward have some discussion on protocol that provide some insight to a reader that in which situation this protocol will perform better, and where he should avoid it. So then onward you have C, D, E, F, G, H, all these protocol discussion on the same pattern. And let me show here in this paper as well. Sorry. Here is the discussion. For example, this is a protocol, vehicular density. Then he discussed about the protocol and also give some pros and cons that in dense environment, transmission speed is shifted to a lower level because high proximity will increase the collision rate. So these are the pros and cons. Similarly, in the moderate state and onward, he has discussion that how this issue with the power-based approach in higher transmission range is resolved. Then onward, he is coming toward the rate-based strategies. And over here, he is discussing some of the existing protocol here. You can see one by one, dynamic broadcast, then onward, after dynamic, he is discussing the trajectory broadcast and means before starting the next protocol, he had some discussion about every protocol to give an overview to the audience. You can see the discussion here, as well as now moving toward the hybrid strategies. Similarly, the protocol, then look at the drawbacks. You can see here that is the disadvantages, and then onward, and the next protocol is moving. And he also gave some explanation with the help of diagrams. For example, here in CSMA, CA, carrier sense multiple access collision avoidance strategies, he had some discussion over here. And then onward, moving toward the cluster-based strategies, and you can see here in figure 5, he explained the clustering-based strategies, how the cluster formation will take place, how the cluster head will be elected or selected, the unified framework for clustering in different environment. And here then the next one is the priority scheduling based strategies. That is the section F. And then moving onward, he has the SDN based strategies, and which he also discussed at least 2 protocols. Now here is the simulation network environment, that which one is more recommended, and you can also add here that can be the section 3 in this pattern simulation tools and network environment. So he had discussion about different simulation, traffic pattern, and mobility pattern. And here you can see that he has taken these simulators based on different strategies. For example, if it's a power-based strategies, rate-based strategies, CSMA, clustering, priority, and then onward, SDN and hybrid strategies. And you can see that they are using these simulators, NS2, SIMO, NS3, MATLAB, OMNET, SWAN, Some are the locally developed simulator by the researchers themselves for their particular scenario. Here are some parameters. They had discussion about the data set and the density, the delay, throughput, loss, coverage, node devices, inter-node communication, and the common protocol they are using or they are following. And if you have a look, they are using the MAC layer 802.11p protocol, which is used for vehicular ad hoc network. So here he has some comments about every simulation used for this protocol in different environment. You can have a look for SOMO, simulation of urban mobility, then onward move, GLOMOSIM, and similarly the WISM and some other simulators you can have a look. NS2, MiniNet, OpNet, and then onward you can also have the comparison of simulation software here. So this is the detailed survey that he has given, and then onward he is providing a comparative analysis of all these approaches, evaluation measures used for every protocol and every approach, and they are also evaluated based on delay, throughput, loss, contention, energy, clustering overhead, and coverage. You can have a summary of performance analysis and then the comparative analysis over here. So this is actually the next section. You can have a table for discussion, simulation 1, sim 2, sim 3, and then onward. This is sim name, and then onward evaluation parameters. So here can be the parameters. Parameter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You should have at least 5 to 6 or 7 parameter for this evaluation. 7. So here is the table that you can draw to compare the simulation tools. And then onward the comparative analysis. In which you will again draw a table, protocol, and then the evaluation parameters. For example, you can select delay, you can select bandwidth, you can select overhead, you can select the scalability, and here is the protocol name. Similarly, you can also add real-time communication or computational cost. And then onward you can protocol 1, protocol 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you should have discussion of at least 10 protocols, 10 different protocols, and then onward analyze over here. So this is very important thing that you must provide here, and it will be better, for example, if there are some more discussion. Let me show you about the third paper that is given over here. And they have draw a very smart table over here. After that, you can have the discussion on the table and justify all the entries inside this table. So the entries in these tables should be given smartly. For example, here you can see this is another research paper, and you can see a survey on multicast routing protocol for mobile ad hoc network. So the same thing is followed here: abstract, introduction, and then onward the taxonomy. They actually draw. You can see here, this is the taxonomy and the classification of these protocol. I already uploaded this paper on the Canvas, and you can have a look of each protocol here with their pros and cons. There is a little bit difference between the pattern between both papers, but mostly they have covered the same material. So here you can have a look. There is a summary of multicast protocol, and here is the serial number, the protocol, and look at this. He is writing EFH just to make this table more smart. Here you can have YN, and similarly the acronyms is used for every protocol. And all these things are explained here at the bottom. Look at this. AI stand for application independence. H stand for hierarchical. P stand for proactive. HY stand for hybrid. Q stand for QoS aware. R stand for reactive. L stand for location aware. M stand for mesh. S stand for stability. T stand for tree. E stand for energy aware. F stand for flat, and similarly Y stand for yes, and N stand for no. And this is the smart way, as I told you earlier, that you should draw your table accordingly. Similarly, here he has given the explanation of multicast routing protocol acronyms and what this acronyms actually stand for. For example, this has MAODV, multicast ad hoc on demand, and similarly, he is giving the serial number and the reference for these protocol over here. So that's why moving onward that you should have discussion about these protocol after the table, and then you can give your recommendation as well. So you can also give them a separate section, and here you can discuss which protocol is better and why, with reasons and justifications. And similarly, which one is poor and why. And similarly, you can also have recommendation. Recommendation for a hybrid approach or protocol. Normally, here in protocol scenario, we prefer the adaptive protocols, which adjust themselves according to situation, or you can say according to the condition or environment. So this is actually your recommendation that you can add over here. And the last section, that is the last section, that will be the conclusion and future work. So what you conclude from this research, and similarly, what are your future recommendations? Either you will do this future recommendation by yourself, or you ask some other researcher to work on this, other researchers to work on it. So it's then onward up to you. And onward we have the last thing, that is the references. Remember, references should be written in IEEE format. First you have to write the names of authors. Then onward, you have to add the paper title. Then onward, if for example, if it's a journal paper, then you have to provide the journal name, volume number, issue number, pages, and then year of publication. Right, here are publication, for example, 2022. So this is for journal paper. If it's a conference paper, then you have to write names of authors, then paper title, then onward conference title, and then onward where the conference held, where conference held, then the dates of the conference, and then at the end you have to add the year. So this is a conference paper pattern that you have to follow. There is no issue number, there is no a page number, there is no volume, but you only have to add the location, which means the city and the country. So in which country it was held, what was the dates, and in which year it was held. So here you can see the conclusion and future work. What is the conclusion? They have discussed about the conclusion derived from this paper, and then onward give the future work. Here are the references as I told you earlier, that you can see here in the references the author names, then the paper title, then it was published. The paper title is Vehicle to Vehicle Communication, Fair Transmit, Power Control for Safety Critical Information. Then the journal IEEE Transaction on Vehicular Technology, Volume 58, Number 7, pages 3000 to this, and published in September 2009. Similarly, this paper and onward, you can see that he has done almost 107 papers that he cited here for this research paper. And here are the information about the authors. You can see here, my name is also given here about some biodata and some of our co-authors. So he is actually my PhD student working on this. And similarly, you can see here in this other paper as well, here they have given the acknowledgement. The other things are acknowledged to some people. You can see here in the references, same pattern was followed, IEEE pattern for references, where author names, paper title, journal, and then onward volume. And over here, if you can have a look, he has cited almost 50 papers for this. And then onward, the author biography and their details are also given. I have shared these paper on the Canvas, shared these paper on online, so it can give you some idea, to select your research paper title, and also help how you can write a research paper. Similarly, I will also prepare a video lecture on the next, that will be the presentation of this research paper, presentation, and I am expecting that you will prepare your research paper and your research paper presentation according to these guidelines. Still, if you have any question, I am available and you can ask. So thank you so much, and wish you all the best for your research paper write-up. So thank you so much, and hope that you will write a very good research paper that we can submit somewhere and we can publish like our previous students. Thank you so much.